Winter camping. Cold temperatures, snow falling. With a unique set of challenges, winter camping can be quite intimidating if you don't have the proper gear and you're not sure what to do. In this video, I challenged myself with a budget of $500 to see if I could get all the gear required to go winter camping. I'll also give some tips and tricks of what I've learned over the years of winter camping, so sit back and enjoy the video.
Meat all up in there. Look, you got a big old leech.
Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Winter Camping $500 Gear Loadout Challenge. I want to start right off the bat and say in my budget of $500, there's two major things that I did not include in that budget. And that would be your warmth, what you wear on your body, jacket, hat, snow pants, gloves, boots, thermal layers. I'm not including that, snowshoes, and first aid kit. The reason is because everyone's got their own layering system, their own jacket, what they like, and trying to get, with a budget of $500, trying to get all this stuff, including snowshoes, and thermal layers and all that warm stuff that you're going to wear, it would be just near impossible. So I'm not including that because chances are if you're watching this video, you're going to have your own layering system. You're already going to have an idea of what you want for warmth. You're going to need some warmth to go out winter camping that you wear on yourself. And I'm not including a first aid kit because if you're going outdoors and you're learning winter camp, you should already be having a first aid kit. Even if you're just going on hikes, you should have some sort of first aid, and that's just kind of a requirement, almost like bringing food along. So, I guess if I'm not including all these layers and stuff, we need to change out, getting a little bit more comfortable. Oh, okay, that's better. Shed a few too many layers there. So this $500 challenge is an online shopping challenge because if you're watching this video, you've got access to the internet. And sometimes, you know, going to the store, you're limited to what's there. So if there's a specific item you want, they don't have it at the store. So shopping online, sometimes you can get those quality items you want for a much better price or just in general. So I bought everything that I'm going to showcase today online. One major thing I want to point out is that I did not do this on Black Friday or a Christmas sale because I wanted to make sure that the prices are a little bit more realistic to year-round buying. Prices online, they fluctuate so much month by month, so the prices that I got these for might be different than what you see. If you just wait it out and pick the right time, you can slowly build your gear arsenal at a good price. Another thing to keep in mind when you're shopping online is for some reason, the colors matter a lot in the price. So for example, with a headlamp, the black and white headlamp might be $45 and the red headlamp might be $35. Don't know why, it's probably just something to do with the stock supply, but make sure you're keeping that all in mind when you're shopping online. Another thing to keep in mind when you're buying this gear online and stuff is do your research. Get what you want and take your time building your arsenal. When I first was getting into camping, I was working at fast food with Funk. I would research like crazy of the items I wanted. We had just the bare minimum. We were just sleeping on foam pads, just a cheapo hand-me-down tent. Didn't have much. So I would research like crazy, like, oh, this is the sleeping pad I want. This is the tent that I want. Like, these are the dry bags we want, and we would just save up what money we could, wait to find out the best deal, and slowly buy each piece. You know, we started with the tent, and then eventually we were like, we want these sleeping pads, these Thermarest nice sleeping pads. I scoured the internet and found them like ink stained, called irregular, just half off. So I was like, buy them. We both got one. Funk actually just ended up, hers just got ruined after like 6 years. But besides that, take your time shopping for your camping loadout, whatever season you're going, and just, yeah, take your time. So before we get started into the gear, there's one last thing I want to say, and that's that winter camping is not for beginners. If you're not used to being outdoors and not used to camping, don't start with winter camping. Get yourself used to summer camping and ease yourself into it. Winter camping isn't as hard as you might think it is, but you're definitely going to want to be comfortable being out in the woods first, and just in general. Because things can go wrong a lot faster when the temps are really cold and there's snow falling, and yeah, if you don't know what you're doing, you got to be careful. You always got to be careful when you're out in the woods, and winter camping is definitely, I would say it's one of the most dangerous times to be out there. I mean, anytime you're going to get wet, there's a chance of hypothermia. So just, if you're not used to the woods and camping in general, start with summer camping, ease your way into winter camping, but eventually when you're comfortable enough, winter camping, it's really not that bad. Alright, so let's get into the gear that I bought with my $500 challenge budget. We're going to start with the gear that I already use and love. Because when I was doing this challenge, and the reason it's online is because I wanted to be able to get, I didn't want to get just cheapo everything for $500. I wanted to get some stuff that you're going to keep around and you're not going to just break it and just move on and need to buy better things. I wanted to get quality and quantity kind of combined. So the first thing, probably the most important thing for winter camping, period, is a quality sleeping bag. This sleeping bag right here is the 10-Year Industries Extreme Cold Military Sleeping Bag. I bought it used, and it's $109. For $109, you can't beat this thing. My first time winter camping, I was pretty chilly. I got this bag, and mine is used. And since then, I've been able to winter camp down to -10 Fahrenheit, and just stayed warm. Now if you're gonna go that cold, you obviously want some liners and stuff, but this sleeping bag, this is the one I use. I bought mine used. It's falling apart a little bit. I'll need one eventually here, but a new one. But this thing, I trust and love this thing. It's bulky, it's heavy, but it's warm. And when you're looking at a bag, I think it's rated to -30. Oh, it's rated for -20. If you try to find a -20 bag that's actually warm, they're like $700-800. They're not cheap. So for $109 used, this thing is the deal. It's quite a deal. And I think there's definitely some patches on here. But the reason the sleeping bag is so important, and I think it's probably the most important thing in winter, is because as long as you can get yourself dry and warm, you're going to be okay, especially at night. You want to sleep warm. You don't want to be shivering and have a restless night and be tired the next day, because then you're going to make mistakes. So this thing keeps you warm. Everyone has different temperatures of what they like sleeping in or how cold they get at night. This one's worked for me. I love it. I swear by it. It's a great bargain bag. Okay, so the next thing is the Bushcraft Knife. I got it for $36.68. It's a quality knife, great camp knife. You can chop veggies with it, everything. It's for a discount Bushcraft knife, this thing's great. It's the one I started with, and I still love it. I still have mine. So you can't go wrong with this for the price. So the next thing we've got is the Sven Saw. The Sven Saw 21. Now, I started with the smaller version of this, and I went with the bigger one just because it's better cutting power, and the Sven Saw is great. I love this thing. I've upgraded to a different one, but for the price, the Sven Saw is awesome. I love this thing. It's never failed me. It's compact, it's light, it's a good saw for the money. Next on the list, by the way, everything fits into this box, is the Black Diamond Storm. When I was first, what are you doing? What are you doing? You stinker. When I was first buying winter or camping gear in general, I got the Black Diamond Storm because it's waterproof. And the first thing I did when I got it is put some batteries, turn it on, throw it in a glass of water for a half an hour, just see if it worked. And it did. So I've sworn by these. I love these. And I got the red one because it was cheap. It was a discount, cheaper than the other ones. I paid $29.99 for this guy. And I think the regular price is like $45. So I don't care about the color. I care about the light it produces. So Black Diamond Storm, love this headlamp. Next, we have got the Primus Campfire Fry Pan 21. This is the pan I always use when I go camping for the most part. The reason I like it so much, well, let's get it open here, is, alright, it's got a thick bottom. Nice thick bottom. It's not the lightest thing in the world, but it's collapsible, and yeah, you can have this over a ripping hot fire and it's not going to warp or anything. It's a good campfire pan. Love to cook in it. Gotta have a cooking campfire pan. Also got the MSR stowaway pot. This thing I bring with me year round. This is pretty much usually strictly for boiling water. Again, this one, mine's completely black with char on the outside, but I like this size because you can almost fill up a tall Nalgene with it. It's sturdy. You can put stuff inside it, and it's compact. But I like sticking to things with just metal handles and things that can take a beating, and this thing has lasted me a long time. I think I even got my original MSR pot as a hand-me-down, and it's just lasted this long. And I would, if I lost it, I would replace it. It's just the perfect size. It fits everything. It just fits stuff in it. Now, as far as winter camping goes, yeah, you're gonna want to collect water from the snow. You're gonna need a pot to melt. So that's why this is so important. If you're running out of water, this is your pot. This is a very important piece of gear. Keep yourself hydrated. Okay, next we've got the Light My Fire Titanium Spork. Now, I would, forks, you can do without a fork or a spoon, whatever, but it's got two purposes. Not only can you eat with it, it's gonna second as our spatula. So when cooking, whatever you're cooking, this is gonna be your spatula. You eat with it. You wanted something. I wanted to include everything you kind of need, just the basics. So you're gonna want something to eat with. You can make it out of wood, but if I could fit in the budget, I did, and this is the one I always use. I love this spork. Well, it's not a spork. It's a spoon on one end and a fork on the other. I don't know. I like it. It works great. Of course, we've got the Nalgene, brand new tall Nalgene. These are the water bottles I use. Nalgene's Nalgene. I think I paid $10.59 for this guy. Yeah. Only thing about these, besides metal, is I've warped many of these. You gotta keep them away from the fire. Big tip number 2 for winter camping is water bottles freeze. So you want to keep the nozzle upside down in snow if you can, so that if there's any ice forming, it's up here, not down here, because once this gets frozen, it's so hard to open. So you can sleep with your water bottle at night, keep it in snow, keep it near the fire but not too close, because it'll just start to melt and bubble out. So yeah, Nalgene, cheap, durable, love it. One other quick thing I want to talk about is to keep yourself warm in your sleeping bag, you can boil water and put it in a Nalgene. Now, I like it for some applications and not for others. When I got my Wilderness First Responder certification, they taught you if someone's got hypothermia, you put them in what's called a hypo wrap, and you want to boil water, put it in Nalgenes, put one on their chest, have some on their sides, get their core warmed up. For that application, putting the boiled water in an Nalgene is great. As far as doing it for just comfort and sleeping at night, I have mixed feelings about it, because yes, it'll get you toasty and warm, but it only lasts a few hours, and the coldest part of the night is dawn, like right before it starts to get light, like 5 or 6 in the morning. And if you're relying on this for heat, you're going to be cold. So you want to make sure that you are warm enough to sleep throughout the night without a warmed bottle. Yes, it's a great comfort, but unless you're going to wake up in the middle of the night and boil up another bottle, it's just going to turn to your body temperature within a few hours. So it's great. It's great for warming someone up that's like hypothermic or really cold, and if you want to be comfortable in your sleeping bag and whatnot, but it's not going to last all the night, so don't rely on it. But that is a good winter tip. If you're really cold, boil up some water and some Nalgene and put it in there. But be careful, because it will blow out the bottom in these plastic ones, and then they can't stand up. I've done that before. And last on the list of things that I already use and bought is the Conlon's Pack Grill, also known as the greatest grate in the world. This thing gets a lot of hate, but I love this thing. It's simple, it's light, it's durable, it's the great grade. It has a little bit of stability issues, but I love this thing. So that's it for all the stuff that I already use and would rebuy again. The quality stuff that I like, and yeah, I spent a total of $298.78 on this gear alone right here. That's not including taxes and shipping, because I did a lot of this on Amazon Prime, and what? It's okay. It's okay. Yeah, I bought a lot of this on Amazon Prime. If you have an Amazon Prime membership, it's all free shipping, so I'm not including that in the prices. It is what it is. But anyways, $298.78. That's going to do it for all the stuff that I already use and love. So the first thing on the bargain items is the Climate V Static V lightweight sleeping pad. Insulation from the ground when you're sleeping at night is huge for winter camping. And although this is not insulated, it's not made for winter camping, just that being up off the ground is going to help out a lot. And for what I looked online, this seemed to be the best, cheapest option. You know, comfy. I did a little research on some of this stuff. I haven't used this before. Haven't even felt it. I've never opened it. Well, from what I can see, is it feels very similar to the material that I use in my sleeping bag. So it does feel pretty high quality. Oh yeah, this looks pretty good. And you can get away with, you know, other sleeping pads, but like I said, I wanted to go with a little bit more on the quality and comfort side of things. So that's the sleeping pad. Insulation from the ground, check. The next thing is a backpack. Now this thing, I pretty much went with the cheapest, largest backpack I could get, because when you're winter camping and you're using snowshoes and you're going on 2-3 feet of snow, one big tip that I've learned, tip number 3, keep your bag load light on your back. Keep that as light as possible. If you are going through fluffy snow, deep snow, when I first went winter camping, I had everything in my bag. I had my sleeping bag, sleeping pad, all the weight, food, water, and I was just sinking into the snow. So I'm wearing snowshoes and I'm going poof, poof, and like, that is not fun. So the backpack is basically, I put my dry layers in, fluffy stuff, quick access stuff, just light things. And then I attach rope and pull on my sled. But the reason I went with this bag is because it's got a lot of room for just sweatshirts and thermal layers, and it has a couple places to sturdily attach ropes for carabiners to attach to my sled. So we don't really need a special backpack because we're not carrying a heavy load. So this is the Teton Sports 3400 Scout internal frame backpack. And I paid $49.98 for this thing. I mean, for 50 bucks, it's hard. I mean, it feels okay. It might fall apart, you know, after a few times, but if it's just pulling a sled and all I gotta do is rely on some of these straps and it just to hold my stuff, this thing should do just fine. I mean, for 50 bucks, it's hard to beat a backpack for that. But it doesn't need to be a super comfortable backpack because, like I said, it's just going to be pulling a sled. There's not going to be a ton of weight in this. The next thing we've got is the Fiskars X11 splitting axe. Now, we got a saw and an axe, and I think those are very important for winter camping because you're going to want fire if you're going out winter camping. You're going in deep snow, cold temperatures, below freezing. You're going to want to make a fire, and sometimes you're going to need to process up firewood. Like, you can just grab sticks and carry logs over to the fire and just burn them in half. But I like preparing wood sometimes. Sometimes you might need to chop a dead standing tree down. So I included both the axe and this. Now this is a little heavy, but for the price, I mean, I do have one of these that was gifted to me and I've used it and they're great. So I went with another one and I tried to get long enough to where you could take down a tree if you needed to, but short enough to where it's not a problem to split wood. And then the next thing we've got is shelter. We've got a tarp. This is, what do we got here? We've got a Gold Armor 12-foot extra large hammock tarp. Now it's a square tarp, so when you're winter camping, If you're not building a shelter, you're going to want, the simplest way is to just throw up a tarp. Yeah, you can take a tent out, but tents are expensive, so the cheapest form of shelter in this to stay under budget is a big old tarp. And this thing, it comes with stakes. It's a little bit on the heavier side over the tarp I normally use, but it definitely seems waterproof and it seems sturdy. I did a little, reading and research, and you're not going to try to be in rain. Anyways, you're going to try to keep snow off you. So for 12 feet, and I paid $29.99. Pretty good bargain, pretty good deal. Okay, next we have got the sled. Now this is the cheapest sled I found. I'm gonna need to do a little customization. I'm gonna drill some holes here to tie rope through to strap everything down. But the sled, I paid $12.99 for this thing. It is important as long as it holds up, And this is it's just a cheapo sled. I think it's gonna do just fine. If you rip on it too hard, on these ropes and you're yanking, you might break it. But as long as you're just like pulling and gliding along the snow, this thing is fine. Now the only problem with this thing is that the shipping costs more than the actual sled. So that was a problem. This one, everything else I got on Amazon except for this. I couldn't find exactly what I wanted on Amazon, so I went with this. I'm sure you can find a better option on Amazon. This one is a 65-inch, so pretty much any 65-inch sled will do, as long as you can just drill holes and you got sturdy plastic. You just gotta strap stuff down. It's really not that. It doesn't have to be that crazy. I've used a $60 sled that was the big square ones for ice fishing, and those had so much drag. The one I use is similar to this. They actually discontinued it. Otherwise, I would got that exact sled. But yeah, this is the Mega Boggin sled. Yeah, 65-inch. So the one thing that has high shipping and that kind of throws off the total if I include the shipping, everything else on Amazon. So yeah, that's the sled. It does need a little customization, but yeah. And like I said, the reason the sled's so important for me is because it makes your life so much easier for winter camping. If you've got snow on the ground, even a couple inches, pulling a sled is awesome. It takes so much of the work out of going out. It's still a lot of work. You can never deny the work of winter camping. It is a lot of work. But having, 70 pounds in the sled versus 70 pounds on your back so that you're sinking through the snow, it's much easier to just pull a sled, especially if you're going down a trail. So the next thing I included was some carabiners. These are Opang Sky. I paid, what I got here? I paid $4.99 for a set. And the reason I've got carabiners is because to attach, I take ropes that I tie from the backpack to a loop, and then I attach a carabiner to the loops that come off the sled. Now, another tip is a lot of people, when they're pulling sleds and stuff, they like having PVC pipes that cover the rope so that it kind of keeps your sled from sliding into you when you're going down hills and stuff. There's a reason that I don't do that, and my reason is because I'm going over a lot of like random hilly terrain through thick woods, all around trees and stuff, and with those poles, sometimes you want to pull your sled to you so you can get around stuff. And those poles make it kind of hard to do so. So that's just about the terrain that you go camping in. What are you two doing? You guys trying to steal my thunder? I don't know what they're doing. He's just like licking his mouth. Anyways, yeah. A little cheap set of, it's a set of 2. So, I mean, these are going to do the job. Nothing crazy, just some cheap ones. Opang Sky, max load of 855 pounds. I'm not going to be pulling 855 pounds. The next thing we've got is a Swiss Safe 5-in-1 fire starter with compass. I wanted to include fire steel. You gotta be able to make a fire if you're out winter camping. It's like a requirement. You cannot go winter camping and not have the ability to make a fire in case disaster strikes. And this came with 2. Now, it's got a compass on there, but that's not the compass I'm going to rely on. And it's a ferrocerium rod. The reviews were distant. I just went with the cheapest longest ferrocerium rod I could get with a little handle. I think it's even got a whistle on there. Yeah, it's got a whistle. It's something I'm mostly worried about, or concerned with the rod itself and if it throws a spark. Yeah, we'll see if it works. But there's 2 of them. Should do the trick, you know. And it had reviews, so it should throw a spark. We'll test it. We'll try it before we actually head out. But it's super important for winter camping to be able to make a fire. And lighters are great, but you know, lighters can run out faster and not work in the cold sometimes. So I've fallen in love with these. I used to just always use lighters, but I've had the same fire rod for the past like 3.5 years, and I'm still using it. This the one I started with. I'm still using it to make all my fires, and I go camping a lot. So these things definitely last longer than lighters if you're efficient with them. If you're just like just throwing out 50 sparks of fire, and you know, that's okay when you're learning, but eventually it's important to have these that'll work in thick and thin. We'll see if these work. I don't know much about them. That's just something I bought cheap. And like I said, there was a compass on there, but I wanted an actual compass. So this is a Coghlan's map compass, cheap, but a compass. You always want to have a compass when you're out winter camping or camping in general. You're out in the woods, you should not be without a compass. When I go out, no matter where I go, I like to scout on Google Maps where I'm going, and a compass comes in really good into play. So if you're looking at an area, you're like, oh, I want to go in these patch of woods. And the reason I like to look on Google Maps is because I look for landmarks. So sometimes I'll look on the terrain view and I'll see a ridge that goes somewhere, or I'll see a river, or I'll see a highway. So if you're picking out a spot, you know that to the north there's a river, to the west, you know, you've got a highway, to the east you've got some kind of ridge that runs, and to the south there's another highway. You know that as long as you're heading north, you're going to hit that river, and if that river connects to that highway, or as long as you got an idea of some kind of landmark, that's pretty much what I rely on to not get lost. I've definitely had it where I've lost my way in the woods, but I'm like, all right, I don't lose my cool, because I'm like, all right, there's definitely a highway if I just keep heading this way, or if I hear cars, so I'll just get to the highway, and then, you know, instead of making it my exact way back to the truck, I'll have to, you know, just take a little bit longer path. But either way, compass is super important. You don't want to get lost. And then I don't have it here because I forgot to order it. I have 100 foot of 550 paracord and 50 feet of 1100 paracord that I paid $9.99 for the 100 feet of paracord and $4.99 for the 50 feet of 1100. And you need some paracord to tie your tarps up. The 1100 paracord I use for going from the backpack to the sled, and then also to tighten down the sled. I don't like that thinner stuff, but the 550 I use for tying up the tarp. So with all that, paracord and all, we are at a grand total of $493.78. That's just under the budget. It's not including shipping. It's not including taxes. But you've got the ability to cook, you've got the ability to make firewood, shelter, sleep warm, insulated. That's everything you need to go winter camping. And all this stuff's brand new. I didn't mention it yet, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to go take all this stuff out camping and spend a night in it and make sure, test it all, see how it works, you know, let you guys know how it goes as I'm using it, and that video will come in a couple weeks. But I've already announced this earlier on the channel. I'm giving this all away. All the stuff you see is being given away to one person. I've already picked the person, so this has nothing to do with the giveaway, but that won't be announced for another couple weeks until after I do the overnighter with all this gear. But besides that, there's one final thing that I wanted to include. It's not required for winter camping, but I wanted to get it. It puts us over the budget, so it's not required, but it's just a comfort that I never go without, and that is a camp chair. This thing was $24.96. What is it? It's a Tinya ultralight backpacking chair. It's the cheapest one I found. And I wanted to include it because I'm going to give it away, and when I do this overnighter, I'm going to go camping. But the only reason it's not included under the $500 to break our budget here is because it's not required whatsoever. You don't need to sit. You know, you can just stand by the fire and then lay down when you go to bed. But it sucks if you never get to sit. The only problem with this chair, and pretty much any chair you get, is that the feet. Let's see. Oh, they're glued on there. But I don't have a screen, so I'm going to have to be careful when I take this out and camp with it to not lose these foot pegs for whoever gets this stuff. So the total with the chair is $518.74, which we're not including that chair in the price because it puts us over budget. But anyways, I did some research on this stuff. The only things that I'm just really, really not sure about are pretty much the backpack. I've used Teton Sports stuff in the past, but for $50, even if it only gets like 6-7 uses, like I'm sure it'll get more. Like it would have to just fall apart, which I don't think it will. It had decent reviews. So we've got some stuff that I trust, some stuff that I don't, but for $500, winter camping loadout, that's not too bad. You're gonna stay warm, you're gonna be able to do everything. I think I've included everything I need, and even some extras. You know, the spork and the chair, you don't really need those things to get out there, but you know, you will. So I will be including a link in the description to everything I bought here for this challenge. I will include a link straight to where I got it. Keep in mind, like I said, the prices, they're going to be different from what I've listed here. I don't know if I got them when they were super high or super low. I bought this all on one day, non-Black Friday, wasn't just a big sale event. I was going through and I definitely picked through what was the best price. So, for example, this tarp, if there was another tarp listed and it was a higher price, I went with the cheaper one as long as the reviews were decent. So when you go to do this, if you're going to buy this stuff and try this out, check tarps. So you look at this one might be the higher price today and the other one's got better reviews. Who knows? You just got to do your research, take your time. You don't need to buy it all at once, but I'm definitely going to include all of the links to all this gear down in the description. So in the next couple weeks, I'm going to be taking all this out, winter camping. Mr. Monty will most likely, 100%, definitely going to be accompanying me. He's going to have his normal gear that he uses, but I'm going to use all the new stuff, use it one time, go winter camping in it, and then I'm going to give it to that winter, so you're going to get used stuff. I would definitely wash out the sleeping pad or bag after I use it, and hopefully I don't destroy anything. If I do destroy something, I'll probably replace it. But is there anything else? So it's going to be a lot of fun to, it all fits in this box except for the sled. I don't know how I'm going to ship that, but everything else fits in this bag, or this box here. I'm sure it'll cost $50 to $100 to ship. So that'll be a dent in the challenge, right, Roots? But yeah, I know there was not as many tips for winter camping as there was just talking about the gear, but yeah, that should be everything you need. Nothing in there is too cheap except for maybe that backpack. And if you're going to use this stuff, I would highly recommend waiting for me to come out with the video where I use all the stuff for camping, because I'll just give an update of what I think of each thing as I'm using it. So you can refer back to this video and be like, all right, sweet, he liked all that stuff, it all worked out great. Or I'll say, this thing sucks, don't get it. I won't know, but this is what I got. This is the $500 challenge. We're going to make it out winter camping in it. And I know with that sleeping bag, I'm going to be fine no matter what happens, as long as I make fire. So anyways, guys, hope you enjoyed this. And yeah, I'll have another video in the future where I actually break down winter camping for beginners and camping in general. But for now, this is just sticking to the challenge. And I will catch you guys in the next video. Have a good one.